So they're telling us that we had 4 drones go missing. And this happened in November 2025. And we're just now hearing about it because of this Iran war. Particularly being used to scare the American people. That's pretty much what this is being used for. This is a form of propaganda, to be honest. What do I think about this? Honestly, I think it's bullshit. But let me give you a rundown of what happened. So what they're telling us is, in November 2025, 4 AI-powered military drones, man, they vanished from Fort Campbell, which is a U.S. Army base. And the military is calling it a targeted theft. And these were Skydio X10D drones worth over $110,000 a piece. They were stolen from a locked storage area, and that area was inside of the engineer battalion building inside of Fort Campbell. Okay, you're not just a regular person walking off the street and just walking into a military base just out of nowhere and just able to pull something like that off. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So you had to be a somebody to be able to pull something like that off, assuming it was really stolen. All right. Listen, this is what I'm starting to realize about this country, man. There's so much shit that they lie about, man. There's so much weird shit going on. You just don't know what to believe no more. You know, you can only believe half of what you hear, if anything at all. Usually when they tell you something, it's usually the opposite. They say somebody stole something. No. They let somebody take it. All right. For whatever reason. You see, these people that's doing all of this, they knew what they were going to do before we got to 2026. They knew we were going to war with Iran. And this was just something that they were going to use as a piece of propaganda. And they might even double it as a weapon. They might use these things as weapons. We're going to get into that in a second, too. I think this is a false flag. I do. I mean, everybody else is pretty much feeling the same way. You don't come out in March during the war and tell the American people, hey, listen, 4 drones just disappeared out of a U.S. military base. And it didn't just happen last week. It happened in November. You know, they were better off not saying nothing. You know, it's just going to make the FBI look stupid by coming out all these months later. And now people are going to be looking at them suspicious. Now, if they were smart, they wouldn't have said nothing. And whatever would have happened with the drones just would have happened. And then it would have been easier for them to blame Iran. Man, I'm starting to realize that we're dealing with incredibly stupid people. I mean, I've been knew it, but now when I seen this, I said, man, these people are really stupid. How do they get these jobs, bro? You know, if you really were trying to trick the American people, you wouldn't have said nothing. You would just shut up, and whatever you got planned, you would just let it go down and then hit us with a surprise. You know, this is not being transparent, because if it was being transparent, they would have told us in November when it happened. If it was such a serious matter, you would have told the American people in November. Not wait 4 months later in the middle of a fucking war to tell us. So yeah, it's being used as propaganda, doubled as a false flag attack. I'm pretty certain it's going to be these drones are going to be used for something else, even though these drones are not they're not like attack drones or nothing like that. They're pretty much drones they're not like predator drones. But they're not toys. These are real drones. They're sophisticated and they're pro-grade drones. And they're military drones, but they're not like attack drones, but they are tiny. They're 4 pounds. They weigh little. They weigh only 4 pounds. So they stole about 16 pounds worth of drones. You could put them in your backpack. That's how tiny these drones are. They're kind of like the drones you can see you can buy at Walmart. They're around that size. But if they were to be adopted to where they can put some kind of a weapon on it, they can carry about a pound a little less than a pound of extra gear on it. Okay, so they can use it as a weapon because it's like they have attachment bays on them, and those bays provide power and data to the drones. But the company that created the drone, they released an attachment, ICD attachment, interface control document that allows third parties to build custom tools on the drone. You see? So these drones do have a weaponization potential. It has open architecture, so it can, it's like Build-A-Bear almost. All right, so they can, just like what's going on in Ukraine with the drones and stuff like that. These drones, you can make a weapon out of anything. All right. It has onboard AI on them, so like they can navigate inside a building. They could use them to navigate in buildings without a GPS signal or a pilot, and they're hard to target or jam them. All right, so they could be used to disrupt communication, security forces. Maybe that could have happened. Maybe we had some real sleeper cell activity going on with some real Iranian troops that was, born and bred here, and then they got into the military and then they went in there and took them. I don't know. Or it could be the government itself doing that to frame the Iranians. It could be any way, man. It could be any one of those two. But there's not just some normal Iranians or Americans walking off the street going into some military base stealing some drones. No, that's not that. You got to be a fool to believe something like that. So what's next for these drones that were supposedly stolen, if at all? Well, just keep your eyes open. If we hear in the coming weeks or days that a drone slammed into a building or anything like that, then they're going to say that these came from Fort Campbell. So if we get 4 incidences, or they take 2 of those drones and put some explosives on them to double their power, be visual, be cautious. They could use these to hit real important buildings in the U.S. Might not knock the buildings down, but they do enough structural damage they can kill people. So I'm thinking that's what, if these are going to be used to do something, it's going to be used to attack like important buildings. That's what I think they're going to try to use them for. They're not going to use them from anything else. They might use one of them for some kind of military intelligence. They might use the other ones as actual weapons. I'm thinking that. So just keep your eyes open out there, man. This thing is getting kind of squirrely. So y'all stay up. Y'all watch your sixes, watch your people. As this develops, I'll keep an eye on this story. But I just think it's bullshit. It's a false flag. It's nothing. I don't think there's anything organic about it. There's a slight chance it might be organic. Maybe we did have sleeper cells that did get activated. And I'll talk about that coming up too. I touched on the sleeper cell thing. I want to dig a little bit more into it soon. But there's that possibility, but there's more possibility of just not having anything to do with the Iranians at all. So being used to set off a false flag, kill Americans, and then blame it on Iran so they can keep this war going. Let me know what you think, man. This is Rebel Life Truth. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Y'all stay safe out there.